at Houston to go 6-4, 2 full games behind the Cincinnati Bengals in the Central Division. As you see, Rich Carlos setting up. He'll kick it off, and the Browns in white will receive to open this game. And of course, this is remindful of so much high and heavy drama the last 2 years as these two teams battled for the right to go to the Super Bowl. Denver winning on the drive in Cleveland and winning on the fumble here last January. Glenn Young, Herman Fontenot are deep for Cleveland, and Carlos sends it on its way. And Young right out of the end zone. The touchback at the 20. Bernie Kosar, who has led Cleveland to 3 consecutive AFC playoffs and to the championship game the last 2 years, has Ernest Finer, number 44, and Tim Manoa in the backfield. Reggie Langhorne, Clarence Weathers, the tight end Ozzie Newsome still with his consecutive reception streak alive. Theron, Williams, Rakosi, Fife, and Risen, the offensive line. Cody Risen, considered one of the top 10 tackles in the NFL. That's Ozzie Newsome in motion. And the give is to Tim Manoa, the fullback from Penn State. And the Broncos say they have the football. Let's see. They do. Dennis Smith, number 49, comes out of the pile. The first play from scrimmage, and Dan Reeves' Broncos strip it away from Manoa.
65, Walt Boyer. 71, Greg Cragen. And it looked like Cragen putting his head right on the football, popping it loose, and Dennis Smith alertly picking it up. But what a horrible way to start a ball game. Beaten soundly on Monday night by the Houston Oilers. They didn't want to get off to a bad start here. They are examining the replay, but I think they will find that that ball popped clear before Manoa was on the ground.
Now, that has been a major concern of Dan Reeves, who has really monitored the turnover table. When his team is playing well, they're in the plus column. They're -8 on the season coming into this game.
Only 3 teams worse in the NFL, and you can see that ball bouncing free. That's a shot they may look at up in the replay booth. But Denver, with a history of being able to strip the football away, they have not been doing that nearly as well this year, as you mentioned. A real concern, and they are, again, replaying that. Royal Cathcart, the replay official, has yet to make a decision.
Place down is called first down. Brett Silva, the referee, announcing that the play stands. First down, Denver at the Cleveland 22-yard line. Dennis Smith in the right place at the right time for the Broncos. Natil left, Dan Johnson to the right. Orson Mobley and Clarence Kay. They start with 2 tight ends. Sammy Winder, not Dorsett, starting at running back behind Elway. Wide open is Mobley, and the big tight end is to the 10-yard line. A gain of 12. Let's look at the starting offensive lineup for the Broncos. Elway, not Dorsett, but Winder. They started with the 2 tight ends. There's your normal alignment offensively, and the big 5 in front of Elway, protecting him against a team that can put some pressure on the quarterback. Jariga Perry, Brian Kartz, Lanier. It's been an offensive line that's been reworked throughout the year because of injury. Keith Bishop, perhaps their best lineman, is on the sidelines today except for snaps. Elway looking for 6. Tried to hit Johnson at the 2. Boy, Eddie Johnson of the Browns somersaulting into that defense along with number 30, Thane Gash. Gash starting on defense. There's Clancy, Golick, and Hairston, the front 3 for the Browns. Dave Grayson, the 2 Johnsons, Mike and Eddie, and Clay Matthews, the Pro Bowler on the outside. Minifield and Dixon, the starting Pro Bowl cornerbacks for the Browns. Brian Washington and Gash will share that strong safety, the 2 rookies, and Felix Wright, an underrated free safety. It's Dorsett, his first carry. A gain of a yard, maybe 2. Felix Wright came up to make the hit.
Both teams, Dick, expected to challenge the running defense of their opponents today. The Denver Broncos ranked last in the league in stopping the run, and the Cleveland Browns 19th in the league. So you better believe that Dan Reeves is saying we've got to challenge them and force them to illustrate that they can play the run.
Third down, 9. Elway sends Vance Johnson way out to the right. A little above the average on third down conversions. Nateel to the left. They really spread the field. Offside, Buchanan. And Vance Johnson, the intended receiver, Frank Minifield on him, but Charles Buchanan, 72, lurched offside.
And Elway so adroit at drawing people off sides. He does it in part with his voice, with his cadence, but also with his bounce.
Defense, number 72. Offsides, 5 yards, still third down.
Here's Buchanan way out, well, right here on the outside, right at the far side of your picture. Watch him. Elway is just giving him a little bounce. And, of course, Buchanan jumping way off sides on that particular play.
Not only the head bob, but he drops his shoulders as if he's about to receive the ball, and that's where Buchanan reacted.
The Browns complained bitterly about that prior to the playoff game last year here in Denver.
Mark Jackson in motion, handoff inside. It's Steve Sewell close to the 1-yard line, and that'll be very close to a first down. Felix Wright spearheaded the defensive charge for Cleveland, and they're going to go for the field goal. Rich Karlis comes in.
Some good defense inside as Sewell will take the ball on a little delay out of the shotgun and try to drive it inside. 22, Felix Wright. A very strong player at the free safety position, the first one to make contact, and an unusual free safety. He drove him right back.
Karlis to try about a 19-yard field goal. He is 18 for 24 this year. His 18-yarder is good. But the Bronco fans wanted the 7, not the 3, as Elway gets them to the 2-yard line after the fumble by Tim Manoa, recovered by Dennis Smith, and Karlis nails what amounted to an extra point for the 3-pointer. So Denver takes the early lead. Welcome to Mile High Stadium. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. And as we view this game, you contrast it, Merlin, with maybe 3 years ago when it was the Central Division all at 5-5, and the power was in the West in the American Conference. We've really turned things about, haven't we?
Certainly have, Dick. And if you want to look at what's happened in the AFC West, in 1984 they played 36 games outside the division. They lost 4 of those games. So far this year, they have played 22 games outside the division. They have won 4 games. Now, those statistics pretty grim for the AFC West.
And that they figure, despite the fact Denver has the home field advantage, Cleveland is a field goal favorite to win today.
Well, it certainly deserves to be a favorite on the basis of their play, although they got blown out pretty badly last Monday night by Houston.
Should Denver win, they would both be 6-5, and of course when you think ahead to the wild card, and we're really talking a 6-game season now, 6 games to go, that would be a tiebreaker for the wild card. Karlis spins one right to the base of the uprights, and another touchback for Cleveland.
Rich Karlis, a few years ago, was not getting his kickoffs into the end zone, and that's really a sin here in Denver when you have the altitude going for you. Worked on the strength of his leg, and boy, he is booting them out of the end zone today.
The Broncos are last in the league stopping the run. Boyer, Cragen, and Townsend taking some heat for that. Simon Fletcher having an outstanding year. Bruce Klosterman for Carl Mecklenburg. Dennison and Ryan, 2 veterans. Mark Haynes and Jeremiah Castile at the corners. Smith and Harden at safety. The Browns have won 1 play and fumbled it to Denver. They go right back to Biner. And it's Biner for a couple up the middle. It's interesting that the hopes of Cleveland dashed in the championship game here last year on the fumble by Biner, and on the first play today, a fumble by Cleveland results in 3 points for Denver. Final, Philadelphia beats Pittsburgh 27-26 on a Zendejas field goal in the final 75 seconds. Another final, Tampa Bay 23, Detroit 20. Kozar's first pass is to Brian Brennan, right through his fingertips. I believe Brian was looking to the sidelines, trying to stay in, may have taken his eye off the ball. As you look at our first 10-minute ticker, the Bears in a big, surprisingly big score at Washington. Cincinnati and Kansas City tied late in their game at Arrowhead, and New England a 1-point lead at the Meadowlands. Indianapolis by a touchdown at Green Bay, and that final, the Eagles over the Steelers by 1. San Diego wins at Atlanta 10-7. And Tampa Bay beats Detroit. Third and 7. Kozar flushed out. And Fontenot hit by Randy Robbins for 1-yard gain. And the punting team comes on for Cleveland.
Bernie Kosar does not like to run in there. Had to run. Got some pressure right up the middle. Here's his outlet man, Herman Fontenot, just cutting across, trying to get out of the way of the official. And right there to nail him, Randy Robbins, number 48. They'll kick it away.
Max Runiger, the veteran punter for Cleveland. And Ricky Nattiel deep for Denver, comes up to get it at the 38. And cut down at the 47-yard line by Stephen Braggs. 38-yard punt, 9-yard return. And a flag on the play, several flags.
They're saying that an ineligible man was downfield, but that's a good return and not a great punt. I think Denver just going to take the football with excellent field position.
47-yard line if they decline the penalty.
Punting team, illegal man, downfield. Number 50, decline, first down.
76,000, the usual sellout here in Denver. But it's been a different Denver Bronco crowd. They have been booing their home team of late, unhappy with a 5-5 showing.
Not a great year for that man, Elway. Injuries and numbers both working against him.
Sammy Winder can't get to the corner. Spun out of bounds by David Grayson. Clay Matthews had his path cut off. 3-yard loss.
Matthews, such a strong linebacker, has bulked up about 15 pounds this year. They have him also playing as a down lineman in long yardage situations. Said he didn't feel that has hurt his quickness at all, and certainly that play would illustrate what a great job he does of stringing out a play. And then Grayson, with his great quickness, flowing from the offside right there to help make the tackle.
Actually a 4-yard loss on first down. Elway ducks the pressure, throws for Kay. And Grayson, the speediest of the Cleveland linebackers, on the coverage. And Elway not happy with the way Kay broke off on that cut. He wanted him to go earlier.
There is Clarence Kay breaking loose at the line and getting a good chuck by Grayson. Let's see what happens here. Grayson looking right into the eyes. You better believe that's man-to-man coverage. And Kay tried to lead him inside, but just late getting back outside to get a hold of that football.
That's the case, isn't it, Merlin, that Dan Reese is talking about, where Elway often is blamed for the pass, but he has to judge from the coverage how the man will break and hope that Kay will read the same way. Vance Johnson, too long, down at the 5-yard line. And a flag is down.
See rather a strained look. There's no question about that. The injuries, Mark Jackson out earlier in the year. Clarence Kay himself, spinal injury in the first game against Seattle, missed a whole lot of games. It's been very difficult.
Number 57, offside.
Clay Matthews, the linebacker,
yards, still third down.
Offside, so another 5-yard penalty against Cleveland, and that goes back to Elway's cadence or his movement as he accepts the ball. to Denver. You fans that have just seen New England edge the New York Jets 14-13. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen at Mile High Stadium, where the Broncos, recovering an early Cleveland fumble, have a 3-0 lead. 3rd and 9, wide open. Mark Jackson and a first down at the Cleveland 31. 21 yards on the play, just about Jackson's average.
Mark Jackson, the long ball receiver so far this year. They missed him out with a broken clavicle early in the year. He is particularly dangerous when he lines up on the same side with Vance Johnson. All that speed, two of the better receivers in the NFL. In fact, both fall in that top 15 category, and John Elway getting him the ball perfectly on that play.
Tony Dorsett, short yardage, as we welcome those of you that have just seen the Kansas City Chiefs upset first place Cincinnati 31-28. Nick Lowry kicking a field goal with 2 seconds left. It was one of 5 field goals for Lowry, one of the best in the NFL. So the Chiefs surprising Cincinnati. Here it's Denver with a 3-0 lead. They recovered a fumble at the Cleveland 22-yard line by Manoah on the very first play from scrimmage. Carlos a short field goal of 18 yards. And now a drive engineered by Elway after a Cleveland punt. And they have it 2nd down and 5 at the 26 of the Browns. Tony Dorsett, and the second leading rusher in NFL history, picks up 3 more, is shy of the first down by 1.5 yards.
Denver likes to run in behind Big Ken Lanier. Big Dog, number 76, has started a whole host of games for these Broncos on the right side. I think about 79 straight. He's their best offensive lineman. This is not a great run-blocking offensive line, except for that man, number 76, and he will put his helmet in you and push you off that football.
We welcome to Mile High Stadium those of you who have seen Indianapolis defeat the Packers at Green Bay 20-13. Denver with a field goal lead and an important 3rd and 2.5. Elway, first down pass to Mobley. At the 10-yard line, Felix Wright made the hit.
Orson Mobley came into this game with 9 catches for 113 yards, but he is a huge target, 265 pounds. That's down from 280 last year. Watch him, left side of your screen, number 89, just finding the hole in the zone. Tackled quickly by Felix Wright, but an excellent play and a good read by John Elway.
Mobley with a couple of catches today to add to his 9 coming in. Just at the 10-yard line, so the Broncos have the full 10 to go on 1st and goal. Dorsett throws a pass to Winder. Not quite there. Dorsett was hurried and couldn't quite rainbow it into the diving try of his running back mate Winder.
It looked like Frank Minifield, the quarterback, coming hard on that play. Let's see if we can spot it. It'll be at the top of your screen as Dorsett is pressured right there. Boy, they had somebody in on him quickly, and that dying swan or duck, a quacker, almost into the hands there.
So Dorsett becomes passer, but it goes incomplete in the end zone. Winder now the solo running back behind Elway with Johnson and Natil to the right. Wide open is Orson Mobley, touchdown. All year, has 3 in the first 7.5 minutes of this game, 1 for a touchdown. Carlos trying for point, and the Broncos lead it 10-0. 7 minutes, 25 seconds remain first quarter. Family back in Miami. He graduated from Salem College, was a 6th-round draft pick. We're back, he says.
are certainly back at the start of this ball game. They want to be back at the finish of the ball game. That's where you pay the dividends.
As Rich Carlos tees it up, this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Herman Fontenot deep for the Browns, who fall behind 10-0 in the first 7.5 minutes of the game. Also back is Glenn Young. So Carlos kicked the first two out of the end zone. This one is halfway in, and they'll take the touchback. So Carlos 3 for 3, denying any returns of a kickoff.
Mobley in motion from his H-back position, coming all the way across. Watch Mike Johnson. Drops to the outside, but does not get all the way to the outside. We see Mobley going out of your picture, see the drop by Johnson, and then look about at how far Mobley has gone to the sideline, finding room out there all by himself. And for Dixon, number 29, getting there, but not until Mobley had crossed the goal line.
Had Mobley like a fallen sequoia the way he dropped in the end zone. 6'5" and about 265. Cleveland again starting from its 20-yard line. The Browns do not have a first down. This is their third possession. Andre Townsend, number 61, with a sack. So here, Denver celebrates a 10-0 lead. Let's go to New York.
Okay, Dick, at Arrowhead, the Chiefs tied the Bengals with 1:11 left. The ensuing kickoff was fumbled by Mark Logan, and that set up Nick Lowry's game-winning field goal from 39 yards out with 2 seconds left as the Chiefs upset the Bengals 31-28. Let's go back to Denver.
Thank you, Gail Gardner. And, of course, that's good news for Cleveland and Houston. Houston playing at Seattle. If they should beat the Seahawks, Houston would move into a first-place tie with the Bengals. Second down and 17. Manoa. And the big fullback powers out to the 22. A sizable game, but it brings up third down and 8. Simon Fletcher and Mike Harden collaborated on the stop.
Number 75, Rulon Jones, in there to rush the passer, but he won't get a chance here. Denver anticipating pass all the way on a 2nd and 15. They crossed them up with a run play and picked up about 6.5 yards.
Finals, the Bears, Kansas City, and New England winners. We'll give you the rest of the scores after this play. Kozar, 3rd and long, out of the shotgun. 3-man rush. Plenty of time underneath the Biner, and he has the first down at the 32-yard line. Jim Ryan, an academic All-America, makes the tackle. The other scores, the finals, Indianapolis, Philadelphia by a point at Pittsburgh in the Battle of Pennsylvania, San Diego and Atlanta, Chargers with a rare win, and Tampa Bay the same at Detroit. Late games, no score. Raiders at San Francisco, New Orleans at Los Angeles. Houston and Seattle tied at 7. Dave Craig has thrown a touchdown pass to Blade, so Craig, off the injury list, is back in the harness for the Seahawks. Cleveland with its initial first down of the game. Manoa. Kevin Mack, by the way, is not in uniform for the Browns. 5-yard pickup for Manoa, the 227-pound ex-Nittany Lion.
They lose a little bit of outside speed with Mack out of the lineup, but they certainly don't lose strength. Manoa, a Larry Zonka kind of runner. Look how straight up he runs, but he runs with great power, and he's running against the smallest defensive front in the NFL. That's one of the reasons that Denver has so much trouble holding up against the run game.
Manoa with 352 yards, Mack 362, and Biner 320, so they really have divvied up the rushing responsibility for Cleveland. Here's Biner, hit hard at the line of scrimmage. Greg Cragen, number 71, who leads Denver in tackles, the nose man from Utah State, makes a solid hit.
Greg Cragen, and there he is, number 71. 3 out of the last 4 weeks, the most valuable defensive player chosen by the coaches, and I'll tell you, he deserves that honor. Even though he's only 255 pounds, he is one of the smartest nose tackles in the league. Great at working the angles, and as you saw, in the right place at the right time on that play.
4 wide receivers for Cleveland on 3rd down and 4. Underneath to Bryan. He had Steve Wilson tugging at his jersey. No flag goes down, but Bryan has the necessary yardage for a 1st down anyway.
Most unusual quarterback, Bernie Kosar. His style uniquely a zone. Look at the sidearm delivery. But it's right on target. You're right about Wilson. He said, you can't get away from me. I'm going to hang on to your shirt here. But it is a 1st down pickup for Kosar.
At the 44-yard line of Cleveland. 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. The Browns trailing Denver 10-0. Reggie Langhorne in motion. Down the middle and over the head of little Clarence Weathers and right through the teeth of the Denver defense.
No quarterback in the NFL reads defenses better than Bernie Kosar. But he's working this week, and you notice he's trying to get the pre-snap look before he takes the snap, trying to figure out exactly what those defenders are doing by how they are cheating their position, their feet. Are they looking? Are they leaning? And Kosar, an expert at picking that up as well.
No flag and no gain. As the Broncos stacked up their linebackers right on the line of scrimmage, and Biner is stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
It looked like Boyer, the right defensive end, had jumped off sides, or perhaps it was Shaw Knight. Someone jumped off, but you're allowed to get back as long as you don't touch anyone. Right-hand side of your screen. We'll get a chance to look at it. Here, watch the movement over here on the right-hand side. It's before the snap. Right there, but it's Rulon Jones, number 75, but he got back across the line before the ball was snapped.
Again out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers, 3rd and 10. Brian Brennan, incomplete, broken up by Randy Robbins. Simon Fletcher applied pressure on Kosar.
And Brian Brennan, normally a very sure-handed receiver, that's twice today that he has dropped passes right in his hands. Both times it would have been important 1st downs for Kosar.
So in to punt is Runiger. Ricky Nattiel back at the Denver 18. A dime kick. It's short again and sails out of bounds between the 20 and 25. The 22-yard line, though. Mark it. Timeout. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. The opening quarter. Denver with a 10-point lead. The sideline huddle. There's one of the new members of the offensive line, rookie Gerald Perry, Southern University. He was a great high school basketball player in South Carolina. In fact, broke Alex English's scoring records in basketball. Alex, of course, plays next door for the Denver Nuggets in the NBA. Winder on a delay to the 27.
Let's take a peek and watch how this basketball player works inside. 6'6", 310 pounds, a very graceful athlete, working one-on-one on Mike Johnson, who did a fine job of getting off the block there. But this youngster, they hope, will give them some added punch on their running game. Watching him last week, he pulled and made some awesome traps on people.
He's playing at left guard for the veteran Keith Bishop. 2nd down and 5. Elway underneath Jackson again, and a 1st down. So thus far, Elway has gone to Mark Jackson and Orson Mobley. 5 completions from those 2 men.
Watch how Elway sits back in the pocket. He's had trouble this year not being able to ignore the pass rush and just stay back there and throw the football into the secondary. Here's Elway whipping back, and notice how much time he has. No one breaking loose, and Elway very calmly back there getting that pass delivered.
Jim Zariga, you saw, warding off Clay Matthews, the top pass rusher for Cleveland. Leads them in sacks with 5. Draw. Oh, flag goes down.
51, Eddie Johnson there to just KO Winder.
It's motion against Denver. Well, there was some motion from Eddie Johnson from Louisville.
Ooh, little trap play. They're trying to spring the man with Perry, but watch. Woo, we saw the legs in a windmill here. This is, of course, out of the shotgun formation. Look at that hit by Eddie Johnson, who ends up doing that's some breakdancing there on his head.
The short week for the Browns. They played Monday night in Houston, then they have to go home, short to practice week, then fly on the road again. What's that impact?
I think it's very difficult for a team. 2 trips, which has to sap some of their energy. They're also getting ready for a multiple offense and a multiple defense team. Those are the toughest weeks of preparation for coaches and players. The one advantage, they know this Denver team pretty well.
And there was a positive side, too. We'll get to that. 2nd and 10. The fake to Winder. Elway to Vance Johnson, and a 9-yard gain at the 46-yard line. Marty Schottenheimer, I saw you talking to him. What did he say?
Marty said the one advantage of the short week, we wanted to forget about that lousy game that we played in Houston, and we didn't have time to even look at the film early in the week. We just put it aside and went right to work on Denver, and he said, in a way, that was a blessing. But some of the hangover from that game, as the Browns just have not been sharp here in the first quarter of this ball game, and you'd think, Dick, that some of the carryover from that disastrous game, that championship game that was so heartbreaking, that the players would have added incentive today. We haven't seen it yet on the field.
3rd and a yard. It's Winder. It's going to be close.
All in the mark, and I think they may have to measure this one. Winder, not a great back, especially so if he tries to go outside, but there's not a better back in the league at picking holes inside and working his way through traffic, just worming his way, if you will.
Yeah, the old sidewinder with that worming move. There he is, plowing straight ahead. He's led the Broncos in rushing each of the last 6 years. He's relinquished that role this year. Tony Dorsett with 533 yards and Winder 361 coming in, and here's the measurement.
One of the problems that Denver has in trying to run the football, they just do not have a big blocker in there. The end result, they have to resort to a lot of trapping plays inside, as you see them having made that first down by inches. A sigh of relief from Dan Reeves, and a sigh of relief also from Sammy Winder as we watched him.
And they'll wind the clock with that, and that'll be the end of the first quarter. Only 2 ticks left on the clock. There's the gun. The end of the first period here at Mile High Stadium in Denver. The Broncos 10, the Browns nothing. In January, the AFC Championship game, Ernest Biner on his way toward the end zone to tie it against Denver, stripped away by 28 Castile. Denver recovers and saves their chance to repeat as a Super Bowl contender. And of course, Kozar, that memorable scene going to the sidelines to console Biner, who said he left everything he had out on the field. And we remarked at the time, already they had to be thinking about this season, the season we're seeing now. Well, thus far it's Denver again, and Denver has beaten Cleveland 9 consecutive times. They lead 10-0. We open the second quarter, and there's Mobley again. A flag goes down as Mobley has his 4th catch of the game. David Grayson on the tackle. Let's see if it counts.
Grayson working on an injured ankle, and Denver always comes into a game with a package that features a particular receiver or several sets. It's obvious that Mobley very big in their plans today, and he has done an excellent job of being able to get open.
Brett Silva.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. 5 yards. First down to the defense.
They're taking the penalty because it gives them the first down. Not giving us a call on that play as to who jammed to the face.
Also the late games, no score at San Francisco nor at Anaheim. Houston now a field goal lead at Seattle, a 52-yard field goal by Zendejas, and Neil Lomax has run for and passed for a touchdown at home to take a 14-0 lead against the Giants. Here 10-0 Denver. First down at the Cleveland 48. Dorsett. 11 yards and a first down for Tony Dorsett.
Dorsett earlier this week complaining about the fact that he has not had the opportunity to carry the football much. Has had several big plays today, has lost some of the power and strength out of the legs, but still has fine speed, used it to break into the open. Good blocking up front by the Denver offensive line, running in behind the right side of that line, Hartz and Lanier.
Dorsett is the oldest active running back in the NFL at 34 years of age. He gives way, and Winder got the call across the 35 to the 34, a pickup of 3. Eddie Johnson first there for Cleveland. Steve Sewell comes out. Sewell is the big movie buff on this Denver team. If you want to know the critics' choice in the Mile High, you go to Sewell. Jackson and Natil to the right. That's Jackson in motion. And Dorsett looks to have another first down before Felix Wright can knock him down. Clarence Kay throwing the block. And Kay getting up slowly.
Watch it from the inside. Keith Cart's going to lead right through here. Has a little trouble getting over the traffic, and Dorsett will come in right behind him with an excellent run. Hart sealing the play back inside. Defensive end had jumped inside, and Carts just simply whipped him around and allowed Dorsett to take the opening outside.
Clarence Kay, all right. He's lined up as the tight end on the left side. Another Denver first down. They lead 10-0. Elway looking for more. Mobley. That's his 4th catch, plus the one that they didn't take because of the penalty. Bob Golick downfield to make the tackle.
Elway has again spotted the 6'6", 265-pounder, and there's Dave Grayson, and we mentioned Grayson having some trouble running on an injured ankle. Golick coming all the way out from his nose tackle position to make the play, but after an 8-yard gain.
Winder, short gain. I don't believe he picked up the first down. In the grasp of 72, Charles Buck Buchanan.
Buchanan took on Mobley, who went to his ankles and still made a fine play. Buchanan, a very small defensive end, really a linebacker, if you will, came out of nowhere off the injured reserve list, had about 4.5, 5 sacks in just a 2-week period, but has been quiet of late.
The Browns, the toughest team to score against, especially with a pass. They're number 1 in the league at pass defense. The Bears gave up a couple of touchdowns today to Washington. That's not included in that statistic. Elway to Kay, Clarence Kay to the 5-yard line before Brian Washington can bring him down. Elway going to his tight ends, Merlin.
When you have great outside receivers, and Denver has 3 of them, you'll have a chance to watch Clarence Kay, right-hand side of your line, just working down in here into the opening, and Elway is going to just fake the pass, or fake the run here first, freeze the linebackers. Now watch Kay just slipping to the outside and then driving back inside. 51 Eddie Johnson, the man who tried to cover him, and Eddie just no match for Clarence Kay.
So Denver 5 yards from a 17-0 lead. Winder, no gain. Brian Washington, the rookie from Nebraska, strong safety coming up to make the trip.
Dick, I started to say, when you have fine outside receivers and you can really force a defense to respect your speed outside, you open things up inside. And especially so if you have a couple of big, tall receivers who can catch the ball. And Denver does have that in both Mobley and Clarence Kay. In fact, last year, Clarence Kay, in my opinion, the finest tight end in the NFL. Has had some problems this year, as I mentioned, missed a lot of the season with an injury, but he's come back strong.
Into the blue eyes of John Elway. 2nd and goal from the 5. Gerald Wilhite, he threw that one away. David Grayson had excellent coverage on Wilhite with Winder, the deeper man, into the end zone.
One of the things I enjoy about Elway, he's always smiling when it comes to the line. You know, babies smile like that. And sometimes they have gas. I wonder, does Elway have gas out there? Keep an eye on him. A different countenance on the other side of the line. Kosar very serious and studious when he comes. But let's look at that smile on Elway's face. He looks like he's having fun out there. And the way things are going so far today for Denver, he is having fun.
3rd and goal at the 5. Intercepted by Minifield. Just when Vance Johnson appeared to be breaking clear, there was Minifield darting in and almost had the steal.
Very often you say, how did he know what was coming? In the locker room before the game, Minifield and Dixon studying films of these Denver receivers. Watch Minifield, right-hand side, leave his receiver, anticipating that pass, and he was right there to nearly intercept that ball. Smart play.
That's a Pro Bowl play. Carlos then will try a short field goal, 22 yards, out of the hold of Gary Kubiak. And Carlos is 2 for 2. He's missed only 6 of 26 this year. 13-0 Denver. Half and lead 13-0. Minifield saving a touchdown, or Denver would have an even more impressive lead. Carlos spins it high up into the Denver sky to the 3. Glenn Young runs into his own man and crosses the 20 to the 21-yard line. Now, last week, we were off doing the Breeders' Cup, and you were working with Proctor. Makes me think, gee, if only my name was Gamble, you'd had Procter & Gamble back then. Oh, my! Well, enough of this silliness. We'll return to Mile High Stadium, where the Broncos lead 13-0 right after this. Bernie Kosar and the Browns again start deep in their own end at the 21. Underneath he goes, and that is complete to Ozzie Newsome. And Newsome continues his streak, 138 consecutive games. He has caught at least one pass. He's second all-time to Steve Largent.
Ozzie working into the zone there. 55, Dennison, the man who is responsible for that zone, and he's angry at himself for letting Ozzie pick his pocket. Dennison had to move into the signal calling responsibilities because of Carl Mecklenburg's injuries. That really complicates a linebacker's life.
2nd and 2. Ernest Biner trips. Did he fumble? They're rolling the ball down. They're rolling it down at the 33. The Broncos come up with it. Andre Townsend, but the whistle had blown it dead.
With all of the pressure applied to Ernest Biner early in the year about the fumble and talking about it, this is the last thing in the world he needs. Tripped on the turf and was well down on the ground when that ball bounced free.
But he didn't go down from a Denver tackler. He went down of his own momentum. So they're going to look at that one again.
And they're exactly right. The ball bounces loose. Biner can still get up and run. I think they're going to turn that one around and give the ball to Denver.
Let's see it again. Biner is not contacted, or is, well, the Bronco defender will contact him, will tap him on the back, but is the ball already free? All right, no one has touched him here yet. Well, you can't see from that angle. That's
going to be very difficult to change the call because you can't tell, even though the ball is coming up, whether Biner still has his hands on it. I think they're going to... The play will stand as called again because you couldn't get irrefutable visual proof that the call was made incorrectly.
Well, the Browns may have dodged a bullet there.
Very, very lucky, I think.
8:17 left in the first half. 13-0. Cleveland trails. Derek Tennell, oh, is he hammered at the 40-yard line. Klosterman and Dennis Smith.
Smith, a big hitter, occasionally because he likes to hit, will come up so quickly that he is a little vulnerable to biting on the play, coming from the outside, and boy, he puts a helmet right through. Wears a pad on that forearm that he broke last year. 2 broken forearms in that secondary during the '87 season. The other one on Mike Harden's body.
Strong safety staring into that offense. And Biner wiggling up the middle, I believe, is shy of first down by a yard. Greg Bragan and company making the stop. Back to Dennis Smith. You talked about all of his injuries, Merlin. At one time, he had some interest in playing the piano, was taking some serious lessons. I said yesterday, are you still working on the piano? He showed me his fingers. He looked like an old broken down baseball catcher. They're pointing in many different directions. He said, I can't hit all the notes anymore.
He really has some ugly hands. An interesting player, has had a hard time playing with leg injuries. In fact, was out with a hamstring injury earlier this year, but will play with fingers that look so bad you can't believe it.
3rd and 1. Manoah has the first down to the 44-yard line. Dennison and Harden, but Manoah, that good shoulder lean, slanting off tackle.
One of the things that the Browns are concerned about today, that offensive line rather beat up Paul Farron, and they ran in behind him with a back injury. Cody Risen, an elbow injury. Fike with a thigh injury and rib injury. And, of course, coming into the game, Larry Williams with a neck injury that's really taken the strength out of his left arm. So this offense rather beat up here today.
Fontenot way out to the near side. Spread formation. Kozar lobs it incomplete to Biner. Bruce Klosterman on the coverage, and had that pass dropped in there, Biner had the sidelines to his own.
Here's the replay. Pressured, Kosar will drift to his right and just try and float the ball over Klosterman's head. But that's a tough catch. I think that's as tough as any. Running dead away, ball falling straight over your head, and Biner unable to get his hands on it.
Now the sack differential, the Browns have 29 sacks. Kosar sacked 15 times, or the quarterback plus 14. The Broncos are even, 22-4 and 22 against. That's another statistic that bothers Dan Reeves. Kosar intercepted by Jeremiah Castile. He may go all the way. Saving the touchdown was Cody Risen, number 63, at the 18-yard line.
You sense how intimidating this crowd can be when you make a mistake. Kosar just made one here, thinking that Weathers was open, but Jeremiah Castile, who made that forcing fumble in last year's game, makes a big play here as he takes the football away and gives Denver great field position again in this first half.
17-yard line. Castile, he was such a big name as he forced the fumble that saved the Broncos their Super Bowl trip last year. Kay is open, and the pass is a little shy, and a flag in the end zone against Cleveland. Grayson, David Grayson, number 56, with a push.
One official saying he did not feel it was a penalty. A second official saying you cannot contact the receiver with that ball hanging in the air. And Grayson indeed drove right into Clarence Kay and took him out of the end zone with the ball in the air. They have really picked on David Grayson here today.
Number 56. First down.
First and goal at the 1.
End of the play. Ball in the air. Watch the contact right there. No question about it. Grayson pushing Kay before that ball arrived. You had to throw the flag.
Wilhite and Winder behind Elway. 4 shots from the 1. Wilhite, touchdown. Flag is down in
Holding against the defense, I think, will be the call, and I think the touchdown will stand as the Broncos taking advantage very quickly of that turnover.
On the tackle, number 54, defense, 5-yard face mask will be assessed on the kickoff.
Mike Junkin, recently activated, back on the roster, going to the face as he tried to pull Will Hyde down, and of course they will put that tack it onto the kickoff.
Carless, extra point to make it 20-0. Boy, the interception, a pass interference, a 1-yard run, and just like that, a quick 7 for the Broncos. 20-0. Not unlike that championship game where Denver dominated in the first half, but Cleveland made that incredible rally just to fall short in the second half.
Watch for number 54. There's Junkin, and there is the hand to the mask. He'll take the penalty on the kickoff.
Denver, and they've capitalized on 2 turnovers, a fumble they turned into a field goal, and now the interception by Castile and a 1-yard run by Will Hyde, and Dan Reeves' Broncos lead 20-0. Carless, well, that right leg of his has been busy. A couple of field goals, and this is the 5th time that he's kicked off. They kicked off to start the game. Herman Fontenot and Glenn Young are deep for the Browns, who have 5.5 minutes left in this first half to try to get something on the board. They trailed 21-3 at halftime in the championship game. They trailed 20-0 today. Another strong kick by Carless, and Young will take the touchback. So for the 4th time in the half, Cleveland will start from the 20s. You see Will Hyde getting a good seal block on the corner, scoring the second Broncos score despite the bulldogging tackle of Mike Junkin. 5:26 left in the first half. We have a timeout. 20-yard line, trailing 20-0. 5:26 left in the half. Kozar into the flat. Reggie Langhorn. Ooh, is he hit by Boyer? Fumbles, and the Broncos recover.
The Browns offense just out of sync, and sometimes when you do too much or try to do too much, you simply get yourself in trouble. Langhorn has the first down, and all he needs to do is run out of bounds, but he wants to make the big play. So what does he do? Goes into traffic, and watch what happens. Number 65, Walt Boyer, just smashes the football out of his hands.
Now Denver with its 3rd turnover. Starts from the 30 of the Browns. Dorsett. Nothing there except Clay Matthews. And it'll be a loss of a yard or 2.
So important to Dan Reeves and these Broncos to get things going. They'd gone through a mid-season slump. Dan Reeves called the kind of football they were playing the worst he had seen as a Bronco coach. 21-39, they gave up 39 points, were destroyed at Pittsburgh. 55 points they gave up in Indianapolis, beaten very badly, and just barely scraped by 17-11 versus Kansas City last week. They're glad to be out of that slump.
20-0 and trying to add more. Shotgun for Elway. Vance Johnson, it's a good catch at the 15 in front of Frank Minifield.
John Elway has not scrambled one time today, and that's good news for Reeves, who has been after him to stay longer in the pocket. And when Elway will do that, and you see him getting a good read on that play as he stayed with Vance Johnson all the way, going one-on-one against Minifield, who's having a very strong year, and beating him. But that's the strength of Elway's arm there, paying off for him.
Dorsett stuttering, and It isn't the Dorsett of old that has the young legs that can stutter and stop and still reverse and leave tacklers in his wake because of his speed. He's just buying time before the tackle.
You can't stop and wait in there. Running in behind number 60, Gerald Perry. And I think what he saw was a whole host of white shirts. Number 59, Mike Johnson, one that had shut things off inside, and he had to try and get outside.
Ryan Washington eventually made the tackle at the 18, where it's second down, 13. 3:45 left in the opening half, and Denver threatening to make this a rout. Natil out of the backfield. It's Mobley, the tight end. No, Clarence Kay, the other tight end, hammered as he makes the reception at the 15, just inside the 15. Frank Minifield.
Minifield, who's not used to getting a lot of traffic, they try and stay away from him. Denver said, hey, no way, we'll go right after you. He comes over and puts a hammer on Clarence Kay, but Kay picked up a little bit of yardage anyway.
Third down and 9. Jason Johnson, Sewell, and Mark Jackson, 3 wide receivers to the left. You can see the advantage that the Broncos have had in field position. Elway, incomplete over the middle, intended for number 84, Ricky Natil. Minifield again on the coverage, and here comes Carlos to try another field goal as we check the ticker. New Orleans on a Hilliard run lead 7-0. Kofor a field goal for the 49ers. Seattle's Norm Johnson has tied the game at the Kingdome, and Phil Simms a touchdown pass to cut Phoenix's lead to 14-7.
It's a very pained look on the far sideline. Marty Schottenheimer's Browns have just been totally out of sync here and destroyed in part by great field position.
32-yard attempt by Carlos. And he hits again. 23-0. It's a big night for the entire family on NBC. This is time where Mom and Pop and all the kids can gather and look at the lineup. Celebrating Walt Disney's 60th year. Well, Mickey Mouse's birthday celebration. I guess they're trying to find Mickey. So you start with that. Then Michael Fox and Family Ties, and a doubleheader for Mr. Fox. Back to the Future, one of the highly entertaining films of the last couple of years. There is a big Sunday night family lineup right after football for those of you in the East and Midwest. And, of course, that lineup, it's regular time in the Rocky Mountain and West Coast area.
Steve Antonopoulos out to help Clarence Kay off the field. Kay being helped and being very ginger with that right leg. You see the concern there because the tight ends, Kay and Mobley, have been a major force here for the Broncos here in the first half.
23-0. 3 turnovers have become 13 Denver points. We barely had time to absorb that field position, but the Browns, about to get the ball for the 6th time, have started on the average at the 20-yard line, while Denver has started at about the Cleveland 40-yard line.
The Browns have not been able to return a kick until now. This one will come back.
Oh, not very far. Fontenot trapped at the 5-yard line, falls at the 6. What else can go wrong?
After a Monday night in the House of Pain, when Houston took advantage of them, Mile High Stadium is bringing its own pain in leaps and cobs on top of the poor Cleveland Browns. Fontenot, I'm sure, trying to think of making a big play, maybe trying to do too much.
No word on the seriousness of Clarence Kay's injury. As soon as we get official word, we'll share it with you. A reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player at the conclusion of today's game. You understand it's a hip injury, Clarence Kay. Shotgun Kozar, his own end zone. Brian Brennan with a 5-yard gain out to the 11. Rick Dennison from Colorado State, the tackler. Now, last year, after falling behind at the half 21-3, actually this year, January, look at how Kozar rallied in the second half. going to have to start sooner today. Viner to the 15-yard line. He's short of the first down.
Did that ball bounce off the ground?
Yes, it did, says the official.
Ernest Viner did a good job of fielding it. He's an excellent pass receiver. But watch this pass just kick off the grass. Yep. Just kicked off the grass. Viner scooped it like a good third baseman. But no reception, 2nd and 5.
Dennis Smith with another tough tackle.
Make that 3rd and 5.
Bob Ahmad and Gale for all the scores and highlights of this November Sunday in the NFL at halftime. Or for Cleveland, lowlights. Brennan, a fine catch in traffic, and Robbins tails him down at the 35-yard line. That's the biggest gain of the day for the Cleveland Browns.
And Brian Brennan actually caught the back of that football.
Brennan, who had a couple of balls go through his fingertips earlier, coming down toward the 2-minute timeout. 24 yards on that play. Underneath and incomplete to Brennan, who complains that Smith was there too soon. But a wise choice by Kozar to throw that ball low. Smith had his eyes on an interception. Cleveland has all 3 of its timeouts left. It's almost crucial for Marty Schottenheimer to get something offensively before the intermission. Not just to make a dent in the Denver lead, but to build some hope for the second half. Draw play to Viner, big hole. 45, out of bounds at the Denver 48. That must be like going to a foreign continent for Cleveland, the first time they've been on that half of the field.
A good draw play will sucker in all of these linemen and give them a one-on-one blocking situation on this man, Jim Ryan, inside. Now watch this. Viner just has to beat one man. Sets up the block by Riccozzi, and then he goes outside to pick up the first down.
At the 48. Riccozzi, who had trouble with the snaps at Houston. Kozar sidearms it to Clarence Weathers. And Weathers is to the fumble, and Denver has it again. Steve Wilson recovers. Dennis Smith was the man who jarred it free.
And for the Browns, Denver has become Fumble City.
Timeout, 1:57 left in the half.
And as we get him going here, you'll have a chance to see Simon Fletcher coming in from the backside and Mark Haynes making a sandwich here. Whoa, stop it right there. Watch it as he'll reach in and take a hold of the arm here, and the combination of the hit by Haynes and the grab on the arm springs that football loose, and again, Denver comes up with a football to shut down the Cleveland offense.
13 of their 23 points on turnovers. That was the first time in the game Cleveland really threatened with a drive, only to end on another fumble. Sammy Winder stacks up. Cleveland will see if they spend one of their 3 timeouts. Yes.
The Broncos would be very happy at this point in the game just to control the football and eat that clock and carry their 23-point lead into the locker room.
1:47 remaining in the half as Cleveland calls a timeout. 23-0 Broncos. It's been a painful year. The hangover from that Super Bowl defeat when the Redskins destroyed the Broncos still haunts this man and this city.
Well, and to be there 2 years in a row and be blown out as badly as they have, first year by New York and last year by Washington, that is a nightmare.
Second down and 9. Wide open is Steve Sewell, and a first down at the 45. And now we'll see if it's Denver that calls the timeout. Yes, Denver spends its first.
Sewell so valuable to this offense. He can run with the football. They put him in motion, and that's exactly what they do here. Just waiting in an open area. Minifield there along with Mike Johnson, but good first down. And Dick, one of the keys to their offense so far in this ball game. Excellent pass protection. Denver's offensive line really shutting down the pass rush of the Cleveland Browns. We saw that Cleveland has a total of 29 sacks on the year, but that's a little deceptive because they got 15 of those sacks in just 2 games. That's better than 50% of their sacks in 2 games, so they have not put even pressure on the quarterback. And in Elway's case today, they have not even pressured him, not even forced him out of the pocket. And since he's dealing with some injuries of his own, he's got an ankle injury that limits his mobility. It's been a key for them that he has not had to scramble.
Yeah, you made that point early. They've really protected him well. He's been confident in the pocket, has not had that urge to get out of there, to roll out as he often does. Trying to add to a 23-0 lead. Elway in the shotgun. Sewell again, and on the coverage, Brian Washington. 2nd and 10. Clock stopped with 1:34 left in the first half.
There's that smile we talked about. And after what the Broncos and Elway have been through during the early part of the season, in particular during that mid-season slump, you can't blame them for feeling pretty good about things right at this moment.
Gets Elway, and a flag is down. Clay Matthews blocked well. Elway did not see an open man, tried to scramble, and Matthews, fighting off that block, made the tackle. Now let's check the yellow flag. Elway says it's another one going our way, and that's the way this first half has been written.
Have the Browns had anything go their way? Yes, the one fumble that was not handed over as a turnover.
Defense, number 29. Illegal use of the hands to the face, 5 yards.
And for Dixon, who's a very physical corner, losing a little bit of his flying speed, has had to become more physical at the line of scrimmage in the Browns' scheme of things. Got a little too physical, put hands to the face of the receiver, and drew the penalty.
First down at the Cleveland 49. Receivers, 5 wide receivers in this set, and underneath to Natio at the 42-yard line, where Mark Harper makes the tackle. No timeout for Denver.
No, Denver not happy to sit on that lead, and Reeves not taking any chances. He's remembering that Raider game early in the year.
And Elway avoids the rush. And all the way down to the 16-yard line, where Mark Harper makes the tackle. You could see Elway, he wanted to go into his slide about 15 yards earlier, but there was no one there, so he just stumbled forward.
Elway's left ankle is very heavily taped. He said, I'm okay running straight ahead. He said, it's when I have to cut that I get in trouble. He kind of shuffles out, but then running straight ahead, uses good speed here. Watch him try and get his balance here. He couldn't get that left ankle to work properly, but he's got them down on the 16-yard line and quickly calls timeout.
Now watch here. He eludes the rush. There's no one in the middle of the field for Cleveland. Right about here, he's looking for a spot to slide. He said, well, it's still not going to be hit. Well, I'll just keep going. That's a 26-yard run, his longest of the season. He had 100 yards rushing coming into this game, and of course that's down from his seasons past, and a mark of his injuries and the fact that, you know, Dan Reeves doesn't want him to run any more than he has to, only out of desperation, which was the case on that scramble. In contrast, Kozar, the top line, has 20 career yards rushing. Elway with nearly 1,300. That shovel pass to Sewell to the 5-yard line. Felix Wright made the tackle. 47, 46. Final seconds, first half. Elway to Sewell, touchdown. Felix Wright was trying to call timeout. He's arguing with the official who wouldn't give it to him. And apparently he saw a problem, and certainly there was one. No one covered Sewell.
Dan Reeves, I'm sure, remembering that game against the Raiders early in the year when they had a 24-0 halftime lead and a chance to add to it, mismanaged the clock and missed a chance for a field goal. They didn't miss the scoring opportunity here, and boy, they have put Marty Schottenheimer and the Cleveland Browns in a deep, deep pit.
Harless adds the extra point. 30-0. The most points this fine Cleveland defense had allowed this year was 24 in a game. They've given up 30 the first half today. No one even in the area, and apparently Wright, who was over trying to get timeout. Actually, he was out of position in part because he wanted timeout. He would have been over into that area perhaps.
And once again, it looked like David Grayson trying to catch up with the play. We mentioned his ankle injuries, and Elway just picking all day at the receiver, and David Grayson is supposed to be out there covering.
And the Broncos, who were a -8 in the turnover table, are a +4 today, and those 4 takeaways have resulted now in 20 of their 30 points.
Tell you one thing that this first half has done, it's brought this Denver crowd back into the ball game. We've heard no boos here today.
Even in victory last week at home against Kansas City, 17-11, they were showering boos at Elway, at Reeves, at Dorsett. 67 yards in 7 plays after the fumble by Weathers. Glenn Young got a terrific block from Fontenot, who is not getting up. Now he is.
I wonder if Rich Carlos's leg is getting tired. He's been working here in this first half.
Field goals, extra points. He's kicked off 7 times now.
And all but one of them have either resulted in the ball being on the 20 or behind the 20. Now that is great field management for a kickoff team and a kicker.
Saw Carlos earlier abiding by the NFL dress code. Even though he's a barefooted kicker, he has to wear part of a sock. We'll show it to you.
A piece of one.
.30 seconds. Kozar with a flag down. Kozar sliding out to the 20. And clock stopped with 22 seconds left. Other scores as we wait for that decision. At the half, 49ers lead the Raiders, and New Orleans 7-3 at Anaheim. Houston and Seattle tied at 10 at the half. Well, that game has strong implications for both of the teams we're watching here in Denver. And it's 14-7 Phoenix over the Giants down at Sun Devil Stadium. We'll get all the scores and the top plays of the day. We had the longest kickoff return of the season today. There's the sock.
That's not quite a sock. We will have to find some other name for that.
Before, he didn't wear it. He just has to. That's to abide by the code. Otherwise, he's out of uniform. Is that correct?
You bet. They'll find him and they'll send him into the locker room. They won't let him play without it. While Carlos has been so busy, Mike Moran is just yawning on the sideline.
Hasn't had to punt the entire half.
Single punt.
77 offense. Uncovered. Illegal formation.
You've got to have the right number of men on the line, or you've got to report that end man on the line as an ineligible receiver. The Browns did not do that.
Well, the obvious here is the Monday night short week back on the road has just been destructive to the Browns. They just don't look like the same team we saw 2 weeks ago against Cincinnati.
Well, they did not play well on Monday night in Houston, and that too may have carried over into today.
Kozar, one of his receivers was tackled, Reggie Langhorne, and that'll be a penalty against Denver. Langhorne working the sidelines. A Bronco just tackled him as Kozar was looking for an open man, Mark Haynes, and that'll be against Denver.
Ball was not thrown, however. They may call a holding call or an illegal. Yeah, we'll give them a chance to sort it out.
Unsportsmanlike conduct was the signal.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 36, defense, 15 yards and a first down.
You'll be able to see Mark Haynes, number 36, right at the top of your screen. And there was the shot to the face. Boy, he just leveled Reggie Langhorne, knocked him right off his feet. And you are not allowed to take those hands to the face and the helmet.
The clock shows 13 seconds. Not many plays for this situation, and the one thing Kozar has to be aware of is throw a cheap interception that could be returned for another score.
You got yourself in a deep enough hole already with 13 Bronco points on the board.
They're trying to find the spot to work. Now they mark it at the 27-yard line. This crowd in unison taunting the Browns with a chant, a soccer-style chant. Contact made by Townsend, apparently.
Ball start, number 73, the center.
No, Rakosi, the center.
You could have figured that was going to happen. Rakosi, who's had his problems at the snap last week over Kozar's head. A bad snap earlier in the year against Cincinnati. There he is, just lifting up and drawing the defensive man off sides. You can't make that kind of move. It simulates the beginning of a play.
Tell you what, the new president-elect George Bush would need all his writers to help Schottenheimer at halftime. Kozar looks like Charlie Choo-Choo Justice over there reversing his field.
Now, wait a minute. Who said that Kozar couldn't scramble? I'll tell you, just looking for a place to get down, but Bernie not nearly as awkward as some people would suggest. Able to use his time, but no success.
1 second left in the half. Here are some of the headlines. Lowry 5 field goals, and Kansas City rallying in the final minutes to upset Cincinnati and threaten the Bengals' lead atop the AFC Central. Tom Zach filling in for McMahon had quite a day against the Redskins, and the Bears remain the team with the best record in the NFC, and the Colts now have won 5 in a row. You saw Schottenheimer go to Kozar, and that's what he said. Hey, let's not mess around. Let's get this thing over with. It's been a junkyard half for the Dogs of the Browns as they go off the field, heads down, trailing 30-0, and Denver couldn't be happier. Stay tuned. NFL Live, all the scores and top plays. Turnovers in the half. Denver, the 4 takeaways, resulted in 20 of the 30 points. Well, the very first play from scrimmage, Tim Manoa from the Cleveland 20-yard line fumbled the ball. Denver recovered. They got a field goal that time. And that really set the pattern for the half. All Denver, the offense converting. Cleveland able to generate only one drive, and that ended in a fumble. Sewell.
All this year, the Browns have not allowed more than 24 points in a single game. Here they trail 30-0 at the half, apparently on the verge of losing for the 10th consecutive time to the Broncos.
Kozar warming up, getting ready to try to take a bite into that huge 30-0 Denver Bronco lead. Interestingly, Steve Sewell, number 30, scored the last 7 of the first half to make it 30-0. I almost thought maybe down so far we might see Don Strock open the second half.
I don't think you're going to see Marty Schottenheimer concede a game, and that's what he'd be doing. This would be a miraculous second half comeback for the Browns, but you've got to believe that right now they need to get back into the game. Not so much perhaps for this game, but to get out of this horrible rut that they're in, playing as badly as they did at Houston, although they did come back in the second half. They need to at least make a comeback, get some respectability here in the second half of this game.
Well, as you've noted throughout the week, it's an incredible time in the NFL. There are just a bunch of teams that were 5-5 or thereabouts coming in, if this should continue as it is now, these two teams would both go to 6 and 5. You can see total yards, not a big difference. The Broncos 210 to 122 for Cleveland. Certainly a meager amount for the Browns, but
the one number that really means something there, those 4 turnovers, and those cashed into big points by the Bronco offense, taking advantage of those miscues, and a couple of them on completed passes.
And Denver will receive the ball to open the second half, and this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Jason Johnson, the rookie from Illinois State, tripped up at the 21-yard line. And you can be sure that one of the things Schottenheimer talked about at halftime is, hey, how about us loading up some leather and knocking that ball free, as Denver has been hitting so hard in the first half. Possessions for the Broncos, 6 times they've had the ball, 6 times they scored. Mike Horan might as well have taken the first couple hours off.
He could have taken a nap at the first half of this ball game, and I'm sure one of the most frustrated people in Denver is Carl Mecklenburg, who's at home watching this game with a broken thumb, and frustrated, I'm sure, at not having an opportunity to be a part of this first half.
Elway comes out throwing to the tight end Mobley. Oh, Mobley hit by Minifield. There's Mobley at 260 plus, and Minifield at 185 maybe, and Frank took him on, the Mighty Mouse. Mobley with yardage out, appears to be another first down.
Mobley, such an important part of the pass package in the first half. No fear in Minifield, but Mobley says, hey, come on back, get me again. That didn't hurt me as much as it did you.
Mobley with 5 catches today, had 9 all year prior to this afternoon. Broncos would love nothing more than play it safe, stay on the ground, short passes, chew up the clock. Tony Dorsett struggling out to the 33-yard line. Will Hill, a rookie from, actually his first-year man, he was signed a year ago as a free agent out of Bishop in the game.
I'm sure it's very difficult for Dorsett to see an opening and to say to his legs, now go. And those legs that did not fail him in so many fine years with the Cowboys just do not have that burst, and he ends up getting caught on that play.
12 years in the league, and he's missed 6 games in 12 years.
Amazing, amazing.
2nd and 10. Into the Denver blue eyes of Elway again, and it's a reverse Natil. And the ex-Florida star is out to flag down a late hit on the Cleveland Browns. Minifield and Wright on the tackle.
One of the officials, obviously a marksman, as he nailed Minifield with the yellow flag.
You could see Fred Silver reading his lips. 31, Minifield.
Defense, personal foul, late hit, number 31, first down.
That's frustration showing its face here. Felix Wright making the tackle. He's down. You don't do that. That's silly. That's silly. You don't need that kind of penalty, but I'm sure, again, frustration lifting its head. Minifield saying, what the heck do we have to do to get our defense to play some football here?
See the penalty yardage, like everything else in numbers today against Cleveland.
The Broncos had a horrible week last week with penalties. 60 yards of penalties on one drive last week.
Dorsett trapped in the backfield, and another flag goes down. Brian Washington. Holding is the call against Denver, and with a loss on the play, Cleveland might be tempted to take the loss on the run and bring up second down.
Sammy Winder, I think, trying to lead block on that play, guilty of trying to tackle someone.
It would be 2nd and about 13 or 1st and 20.
Offense, number 23, holding, 10 yards, still first down.
See if we can see that lead block right there, and it's number 48, Washington, that Winder was trying to hold, but he's a big, strong boy. It got loose. The young rookie just pushed him aside and made the tackle anyway.
open. Vance Johnson, he's had a great season. That's his 51st catch of the year. First down. No, not quite. Down to the 38 of Cleveland. That leaves him 4 yards shy of the first down.
Not far away from his best stats ever on a season. That coming in his rookie year. But I think the best thing that's happened for Dan Reeves and his Broncos today is that Elway has settled into the pocket, is doing such a good job of commanding this defense without scrambling and breaking loose.
Mobley lines up in the backfield and leads Winder, who avoids Matthews and dives close to the first down. Felix Wright down around the ankles. That big young guard, Gerald Perry, the ice truck at 305 pounds plus, leading the way.
Well, we know one thing. Cleveland's #3 ranking in total defense certainly will suffer as a result of what Denver has been able to do to them so far in this ball game, and it's, Marty Schottenheimer will tell you, a long ways from over.
Now the standings starting today in the West, 3 teams at 5-5. The Raiders are currently at San Francisco, and Seattle is hosting Houston. San Diego won, and so did Kansas City. Those wins in the update. Now within the division, say they should tie at the end of the year, then it goes to head-to-head or division standings, and that's where the Raiders, 5-0, have the advantage, although the Raiders still have to play Seattle home and home. In the Central Division, Cincinnati losing, Houston tied at Seattle. If they win, Houston moves into a first-place tie. Cincinnati still has the advantage in the division standings. Elway on 3rd and short, sneaking, climbing up the back of that big left guard, Gerald Perry, has the first down.
And I think the frustration for these Browns, as much as the fact that they have played so poorly in the first part of this game, is that there was an opportunity there to pick up a game on the Bengals, and certainly we'll have to keep an eye on that Houston score as well, but they have to do it. They have to capitalize. The Broncos, knowing full well that if they're going to win the division, they literally have to take charge in the division. They're not going to be able to do it with their divisional record, as you saw.
21-7 in first downs. Ooh. Another indication. Wilhite and Dorsett in the eye. And Wilhite, a fine receiver, nailed by Mike Junkin, number 54, just activated today. The Browns released Anthony Griggs, a linebacker, and a tight end, Chris Dressel, and activated Junkin, who was their first-round pick a year ago out of Duke. San Francisco in a battle of field goals. Hold on here. I don't believe that score is right. I think it's the Raiders leading 6-3. We have it Chris Barr, a 50-yard field goal to give the Raiders the lead 6-3. Houston now in front 17-10. A run by Pinkett. Dorsett, no hole. That is correct. Chris Barr with a pair of field goals, and the Raiders lead the 49ers 6-3 midway through the 3rd period. And New Orleans 14-3 at Los Angeles. Denver goes to New Orleans. We'll be down in the Crescent City next week, Merlin. And that scramble in the West is a mighty interesting race as well.
When New Orleans looks at the films of the Denver Broncos of the past few weeks and the Denver Broncos so far today, they're going to look like 2 totally different football teams.
Elway to Jackson, incomplete. And another flag goes down. And that back where someone was blocking for Elway, and there's a Brown player down. Tripping is the call, apparently against Denver. And there's Big Daddy Carl Hairston injured on the play. That might have been a leg whip or trip. So leading 30-0. Here's the play again.
Let's turn it loose. You'll have a chance to see the man in motion from the sideline. Watch him come into the center, reverse, and go back again. And the reason Denver does that kind of gymnastics with the receiver in motion, it forces the changes in the defensive coverage for Cleveland.
They attend to Carl Hairston. We'll be right back to give you that report. Carl Hairston helped off the field, could not put weight on one of his legs. We'll check that report. Meanwhile, Hanford Dixon has been injured, and he is not expected to play the rest of the day. Steve Sewell. That little shovel pass that is a major part of the Denver offense takes it down to the 25-yard line and brings up 4th down and 2.
Sewell coming out of the shotgun formation in motion across the formation, and that's that little shovel pass. That's like a trap, like a quick handoff. You get the defensive end upfield and just flip that little shovel pass up in there. Sewell taking advantage very quickly of the opening in Cleveland's defense.
Rich Carlos has kicked from 18, 22, 32, and this one will be 42 yards. Is no good, wide to the left. So his first miss of the day, and that's about the only good news for Cleveland, and it comes much too late with 8:14 left.
One of the things Carlos does so well is to get that ball up in the air, but he just hooks it off to the left-hand side. Only missed one game in 13 years in his professional career, but those crutches are for him. And bad news for Denver, although Kay is walking well, a hip injury has sent him to the locker room.
First time today that Denver has not scored when they've had possession of the ball. After the missed field goal, Kozar to Weathers. Boy, he gets a pop from Jeremiah Castile. No fumble that time. First down and a 12-yard gain.
No huddle. They're coming right to the line.
It's a remarkable statistic that Denver has beaten Cleveland 9 straight times, and they're about to make it 10. Underneath to Biner, and Denver, of course, giving the short pass, and a 4-yard gain, and Biner pays for it as Smith. Is he throwing his body around, Dennis Smith? Midway through the third quarter, 30-0. Another short pass to Biner, and he heads to the sidelines and is out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Bruce Klosterman from South Dakota State made the tackle just shy of the first down. Well, it's one of the finest lineups on NBC of this fall. A magical world of Disney, 60th birthday celebration, family ties with Michael J. Fox, and then Back to the Future. That's a Steven Spielberg special.
I was down at Epcot Center, got a chance to walk through Mickey's Magic Kingdom and cavort with Mickey and Minnie. Gorgeous place there.
This crowd certainly not giving up. 3rd and 2. Biner into Denver territory, a first down at the 48.